I would like to thank Level Up Games in South St. Paul, Minnesota for having us this week. Phone number for South St. Paul is 651-493-9176. Address is 207 13th Avenue South in South St. Paul, Minnesota 55075. They have been very courteous in allowing us to record here. Next time you're in South St. Paul, please stop by for all your Magic, Pokemon, and comic book needs.
Hello, and welcome to the Measure Up Podcast. This is Andrew, and today is January 4th, 2018. Here we are talking about the awesomeness that is nerd news and stuff. I'm going to go quickly over the nerd news here. Not very much has happened since it's the beginning of the year, and so we'll just go quickly over it. I'm going to scroll down here the news section. So, a new Exile series was announced with Blink coming back, old Kamala Khan. That's odd. And Nick Fury. If Exiles is the series that I'm thinking it is, Exiles used to be this really cool comic book where people would be from different dimensions and universes, and they would all be on a team that had to go to certain dimensions and universes and change things. And if that's really what it's going to be, then we can see lots of cool stuff. So I might be interested in seeing what that is. I can't really wait. It's going to be pretty cool if that's what it is. Looks like it's going to be from Saladin Ahmad and Javier Rodriguez. So, let's see. Blink, Khan, Iron Lad, and Wolvie. Whatever. I don't know what all those are. But we'll have to wait and see. It'll be in the preview soon, I'm hoping. Anyway, in other news, Brian Michael Bendis is now officially part of DC Comics. He started on the 2nd. Well, technically the 1st, but it was a holiday, so it was the 2nd. And there's been pictures of him on Twitter and everything. But Marvel is allowing him to wrap up Marvel and DC are both allowing him to wrap up his Marvel storylines because of his month in December. He was in the hospital, and DC's being cool about it because, they wouldn't want somebody to just bail on them. So, I guess in X-Men Red news, Gambit will be joining the Jean Grey team. So that sounds like it'll be pretty cool. A lot of people like Gambit. That's about it. There's not really much going on in comic books. There's a lot of comic books coming out, and January and February tend to be like the most safe months in comics. There's not really a lot of splashy new things coming out. And then when the spring comes in like March, April, May, then things start to ramp up for the summer things going on. And I can understand why, because in the meat of the stories are in the fall and in the winter, and the winter is just kind of like a getting by time. But that's all the news I got for that. I guess I'm going to combine this into a Star Wars The Last Jedi review. So this is going to have spoilers. So this is if you don't want to hear any spoilers, go away. Don't go away. At least peg this for later to listen to. That would be awesome. But I'm going to give my ideas and just a couple things that people have told me about the movie that they may or may not have liked that maybe I can spread some light on. And there's a couple things that were brought up that I totally had a problem with too. But it is what it is. It's a Star Wars movie. So the first thing that people have been telling me that they didn't like is they didn't like the director or the direction it went the story. And discussing this with another person that has seen the movie, it's one of those things where how much control did he really have of the story and how much control did he not have? So things like when he turns the ship around and it goes into hyperspace and we see the death of the admiral in the movie, people are like, well, why haven't they done that before? That makes total sense. But it can't be a new idea if it's been done before. So there's going to be a lot of new things in the movies that are new because nobody has thought to put them in the movie before. That's what creating is. And I'm not putting anyone down for saying stuff like that, but it's just like Star Wars, when it first came out, was totally brand new, and people were like, whoa, this is the greatest thing ever. And every movie since then has pushed the envelope of new stuff. There hasn't been really anything rehashed that I can think of. Sorry about that. My cat was in the room, and he wanted to leave, so I had to let him out. I had to pause it there for a second. But anyway, so my point about that is did he dumb everything down to make audiences feel? That's a question. And whose call was that? He wrote the script, but there's got to be like 50 people reading the script. That's the problem right there. It isn't his bad writing or his bad directing or his bad storytelling. It has to do with so many people looking at the script. When Lucas was in charge, he wrote the script for the first 3 prequels, and he pushed the story the direction he wanted it to go. He might have had someone else write a script for it, but he had the final say of what was going to happen. Where when you have like Disney and Lucasfilm, yeah, you put up creative control over to the movie to somebody, but when Luke Skywalker dies, does he get to call that, or does somebody else get to call that? Who's on the light side? Who's on the dark side? Does he get to call that? Who were Rey's parents? Did he make that call? Who's Snoke? We still don't know who Snoke is. We just know that he's a powerful Sith Lord. We don't even, we don't know where he got his powers from. Was he a Knight of Ren, or was he, there's so many things that are not told in the movie. They're just left. And when, in another part of the movie that just kind of killed me was when Snoke died. We don't know anything about Snoke, so I'm hoping they're going to tell us more stuff, or if not, put in more movies that will tell us who Snoke is. It's not Snoke, yeah. I keep thinking Smoke, but that's Justin Smoke, the baseball player, not the same guy. But it was kind of disappointing when Snoke died, and we didn't get to find out like where he was from or what he was, but a lot of people thought the movie was very predictable, and I didn't think so at all, because when he killed Snoke, I didn't feel up to that point that I thought he was going to kill Snoke, but when he said, I know what I need to do, my first thought was the rule of 2. There's always a master, and there's always an apprentice, and the way you get from apprentice to master is you kill your master. So pretty much when he said that, I knew he was going to kill Snoke, and then they showed the lightsaber rattling around. I'm like, he's gonna put that right through him, and that's what happened. And I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty cool. Like when he said, because everybody thought, well, I know what I have to do. Oh, he's gonna kill Rey, or he's gonna do something. And but when he kills Snoke, a lot of people in the movie theater actually let out gasps, like they were whoa, like they were totally shocked. And we saw the movie with a completely full theater, which was pretty sweet. So a lot of the stuff that happened was pretty awesome. When it happened, a lot of people were cheering, and like people were like woohoo, or something like that when things happen. So it made and I always think a full theater makes things more enjoyable than watching it with like 3 people in the theater. But that's me. Some people like DVDs and they never go to the theater, so that's them. They like one-on-one action, or them and someone else watching the movie. But anyway, another thing that really got me, and this is a point that I'll say either there's a missing scene or something's not explained correctly. But when I think it was Finn, it wasn't Finn. When the person blew up the bay, and there was like hundreds of stormtroopers, Phasma, there was Finn and Rose, and Finn and Rose untouched. I mean, they fell down because of the explosion. All the stormtroopers dead. Phasma untouched, but across the bay. What happened there? That was confusing as heck. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. I don't understand it. Because everybody dies but those 3 people. One of my friends had a problem because Phasma was across the bay, and then she walked over untouched. I'm like, I can deal with that. It's a movie. It's a fantasy. But you don't kill hundreds of stormtroopers on an explosion and then have the main characters not be untouched. That to me is impossible. At least Phasma's wearing armor, so if she gets blasted, I think the reason they showed the Rose shooting her with the blast her, and then the stuff blasting off of her is kind of show that the reason she's still alive is because she's wearing the Phasma armor. And I think they have to let her die. I mean, if she comes back in any form in another movie, it's going to just make that whole scene the worst, because when she fell and, for all intents and purposes, fell into space and died, you can't bring her back. I'm sorry, you just can't. But they're going to try. They always try. The throwback to the earlier movies was pretty cool. There just wasn't a lot of... And some people thought that Luke acted out of... He's a Jedi, he shouldn't act like that. He did something that was against his core beliefs. And then he sat for 30 years alone on a planet. He's going to act different. People just say, oh, well, he wouldn't act like that. My Skywalker wouldn't act like that. How do you know? It's like a totally different... You know what I mean? You can't act the same 20... If you're the same person 30 years from now, then you are amazing, because people change over 30 years. And it just can't be. It just can't be. I wasn't surprised by any of it. I mean, he felt ashamed, and Rey had to come to the understanding that even though evil is out there and good is on one side and bad is on the other, there is a gray line between the two. Luke knew how to do the light side, but there was always this slight dark side edge to the light side, and if you have to walk a very fine line, even Yoda could lose control if he lost control. That sounded dumb, but anyway, there's always like too much power on the light side could turn you dark, and I think that Luke walked up to that line, and then he realized what he was doing was wrong, and that was more of a dark side thing. So then when Kylo Ren woke up and saw him with the lightsaber, he was afraid for his life, so he's going to attack him. And then he probably ran to the nearest person, and then Snoke probably told him lots of lies. Look what the light side's doing. It's trying to snuff you out. And so then he probably brought him to the dark side, and the dark side's more powerful, and it's easier to get to, as we saw when the Rey, when she went right to the dark side and down the pit. And I just, but I really like the movie. I think it really showed what Princess Leia talked about in Rebel One. Not Rebel One. Oh, I always get that movie mixed up with the name. I can never remember the name. And I love Star Wars movies, but I can never remember the name of them. I don't know why. I can remember the name of all of them, but that one, when she said hope. That's all that Luke Skywalker was supposed to give them, was hope. And I think she realized that at the end when she decided that it was time to leave the base and fight another day. As long as we're here, we'll give people hope. And even she was starting to doubt herself until her brother showed up. And then she knew that, I think a little bit she knew that he wasn't really there. So I think she kind of like knew it was only a matter of time before the enemy was going to figure this out. So I think in my mind, she was like, we got to get out of here. Let's go. And so when they left, they all felt like they were running. But there's people out there. This is part 3 would be perfect to bring in Lando Calrissian. I don't know why they haven't done it yet, but if maybe he's out there in Cloud City again, and he hears the, hey, everybody come to this planet, and everyone's afraid of the whatever. What's up? Lando Calrissian shows up in the 3rd movie, He's an old friend of everybody. So now we're only going to have, so all the 3 major characters from the first movie are gone. Luke's gone. He's now a Force image. You got Princess Leia, who's going to be gone, but it's going to be sad because she passed away as an actress and not really as a character. And you're going to have Han Solo gone. So now you're going to have Chewbacca. Chewbacca's great, but he doesn't speak, so you can't really. So now this is going to be the first movie when you're going to have all brand new characters running the show. I can't wait. And I think people sometimes were quick to judge that and go, oh, well, this is this and this and that. But what I usually do with most movie series is I wait till the third act is over, the trilogies, because A New Hope is great, but Empire Strikes Back takes everything A New Hope was and doubles it down and makes it so much better. And then Return of the Jedi just takes off with the rest of it. The same with the first one. The first movie I really liked, but a lot of people didn't. But I really didn't like the second movie, the Clone Wars. No, Attack of the Clones. That's what it was called. The Clone Wars was the cartoon movie. But when you have Attack of the Clones, then that movie to me was bleh. But when we see Revenge of the Sith, that movie hammered home part 2. And when I watch all 3 of them together, it's just amazing, amazing, amazing. I like all 3 movies now. And I think I'm going to be the same way with these movies. I liked part 2. I liked part 1. But I think part 3, if it's written well, it's being done by J.J. Abrams. But I think if it's written well, and I think if it's done well, I think a lot of people are going to look back at number 2 and say, hey, maybe I was wrong about that movie. Maybe there is a little bit of something to that movie, because it just seemed, as a standalone movie, a lot of people, there's a lot of trilogies that come out, like The Godfather 1 was great, and then 2 came out and it was better, and 3 just sucked. But when you put all 3 together, it tells the story of a family. I think sometimes when you have a single standalone movie, the movie can be horrible. But when you put it into a trilogy or a series or any of the Hobbit movies or any of the Lord of the Ring movies, a single movie might not be exciting and might not make a lot of sense. But when you put all 3 of them together, the story just breaks out and you're just excited to watch the movies. I think a lot of people, when they look at the single movies, they go, this one's horrible. And that just really, I've learned that if I see a movie and it's horrible, just wait for, it might not, and it's not that it's horrible, it's just not the same as the one that came before. But if every movie was like exactly the way you wanted it to be, or what you chose it to be, the movies would get old, I think. I really, really can't wait for part 3, and I can't wait for the Han Solo movie, just because of what direction is that going to go now? We've had 3 amazing movies from Lucasfilm after Lucas sold the company. This is going to be the first one, and then the third actual, like the 9th movie in the Star Wars thing is going to really show, can these characters work on their own? Can these new characters like Poe, Ray, Finn, and Rose, now that we added Rose into the mix, are these characters going to be able to carry on Star Wars past Episode 9? I know they're not going to wait 30 years to make another one, and they're just going to, but I don't know if 9 supposedly is the last one. That's how many Lucas planned for Star Wars. But I don't, he didn't create Ren and, Ren. I always call it Ren. I'm thinking Ren and Stimpy. Ray and Finn. He didn't create those characters. Those were created, obviously, by J.J. Abrams and a bunch of other people. But he had ideas, and he pushed them to the limit. And it's interesting to see, because he did say that 9 was the last one. It's supposed to be like a saga or whatever. Which, it would end with number 9. And that would be really cool. And so Rian Johnson is the director, and he's getting 3 new Star Wars movies he's going to be able to make. And he says it's not going to be about any of the characters we've seen. It would be really cool if he went back, kind of like Harry Potter did, and did the Book of the Wills, which is it's how A New Hope starts, which is really cool. It kind of talks about how the Jedi and all that stuff started, and it says an expert from Book of the Wills, and I would really, really like to have them go back and show how all this started. And there's books out there already that they're from the expanded universe or the legend universe that talk about this cool stuff. that like the Knights of the Old Republic, just the Old Republic. You got characters there already that people would die to watch, like Darth Revan and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the video games alone, you wouldn't need to do an exact copy of a video game, but just keep the characters from the video game. And some of those characters are just amazing. But you could go back and just do a lot. There's a book called, I can't remember what it's called, but it is taking place in the comic books now on that planet. But it shows Jedis in training and how they turn to the dark side. And I just think that book would make a great movie, because the one girl has to do the Jedi's dirty work to go find her brother who's fallen to the Sith, and he's a scum, and he's going to end the world, and she has to go stop him. And in the end, she turns him from the dark to the light, and he sees the error of his ways. But only after he's shot or killed or something. And it's just heart-wrenching. And it would be so cool to just pull stuff like that out. And the books are just great, and I can't wait to see what Rian Johnson has. And I think we have to kind of wait and see. Like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, the first movie, oh, it's great. Second movie, it's not so good. But that third movie has to ratchet in the first two movies and keep the audience going back with their memory banks and remembering what happened in the first two movies. Some people will say they're not going to see the third movie, but I think people should wait till the third movie and see it. And then if at the end of that they say this third movie is great, but the second movie still is bad, I'll buy that. But I think they have to give J.J. Abrams a chance to come back with something that will bring all three movies together and make you want to watch all three versus just 1 and 3. And I think that will happen. It happened with the first 3 prequels to me. I saw 1, loved it, saw 2, hated it, saw 3, loved all 3 again. It's like reading a book series. You read the first book and then you read the third book. Well, after, you're missing the meat of the story. It's like reading the first chapter of a book and the last chapter. You're like, okay, but you don't know what happened in between, and you're like, wait, maybe I should read what's going on between point A and point B, and then when we get to point B, then I can look back and say whether it was worth it. But yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people liked it. It's just a toss-up. I liked it. I can't wait to see it again on DVD when it comes out. I'll probably get the Blu-ray, watch the heck out of it like I do the other 6, 7, 8 movies so far. And I'll probably go see Solo when the first week it comes out, because that just seems like a cool movie. And on top of that, another movie we're going to talk about more later on is Black Panther, and that's coming out in February. And I'm going to be seeing that day one. You gotta believe it. And I'll be on here telling you all the thoughts about Black Panther. And I'll be a little more critiquing about this one, because this is the first one in the Black Panther series. He's been in one other Marvel movie, which was Civil War. And so he's coming into... just so everybody knows, I haven't seen Thor yet, and I'm going to go see it soon. So I don't know if he's been in that one, but I know he's going to be coming back in Black Panther. And I just can't wait to see if they take the comic book and flip that onto the screen and blow my mind. That's all I asked them to do, is blow my mind, and I'll be happy. But anyway, I will talk to you about that at another time. I hope you all are safe and keep warm, because here in the Midwest it's very cold. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.